My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. Next up at UFC Vegas 34, we have Brian Kelleher versus Domingo Pilarte. Brian Kelleher, 22-12 overall, 3-2 in his last five. Domingo Pilarte, 8-2 overall, 3-2-1 in his last five. This is an interesting fight. This is a really, really interesting fight. Brian Kelleher has experience for days. He's one of those names that comes up with almost every breakdown that we do. Him and Brendan Allen, for some reason, because they fought everybody. They're super tough. Brian Kelleher specifically, obviously he has a ton of experience. He's very, very fun to watch. He's always looking for a finish, and he is back down at bantamweight for this fight. He experimented up a little bit, got bullied. He's back down at bantamweight. He should be back into his element with the power and the strength that he needs there. And at bantamweight, he is very strong. He has decent power, and he's a very good wrestler. He struggled a bit when he went up in weight because he couldn't do the bullying. Back down at bantamweight, he should be able to do that. Domingo Pilarte is very tall and long with really good footwork. He likes to fight at the outside of range. He does have issues with wrestlers. That's not going to fare well here. He has good enough submissions from his back, but Kelleher should be able to avoid those and rack up some control points. Domingo is the better striker for sure, and he needs to stick and move if he wants to win his fight. That is his path to victory here. If he stays in one place for too long, he will be taken down. If you can't tell by the tone of my voice, Brian Kelleher is my pick. I do have him in my DraftKings lineup. Pilarte struggles with wrestlers. Kelleher's going to wrestle. It's just that simple for me. Jacob, you're shaking your head. You know I don't reward bad behavior. Danny boy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this I don't want to say the line is too wide because I think Kelleher is the better fighter. I think he's got, tougher experience. He's been in there banging with guys. But man, Domingo Pilarte is very good as well. He's got some solid wins. I'm just looking at, he beat Adrian Yanez, he beat Vince Morales, and then he's got a couple losses in a row. But I guess the last one was a no contest. So, he's good. He's talented. I think he's got a ton of skills. He's got, a rangy, athletic fighter. He's got some skills everywhere a little bit. I just think Kelleher is going to be a little bit too much, and he's just too game of a fighter. I like that he dropped back into the lightweight, bantamweight. I'm sorry. And I think he's got ways to win the fight everywhere. He's got power in his hands. He's got sneaky subs. I think he's got underrated wrestling. So overall, I like him just about everywhere. So I'm going to take him. I just wish the line was a little bit closer, and I'd probably make a bet on it. Minus 176 feels a little expensive, but I think I will take him in draft. Well, $9,000. I don't know. I'm on the fence about DraftKings.
It's a lot. I did it, but it is a lot.
Yeah, because Pilarte, I'll tell you right now, from a DraftKings perspective, if you're doing multi-entry, $7,200 for Pilarte is probably a pretty good value because he is not a bad, he is a good fighter. I just think Kelleher is going to be a little bit too much.
Yeah, I agree. We're pretty aligned. I'm a little more on Kelleher than you are. I just think he is that much better everywhere for the most part, except raw striking. But when you have the wrestling ability and just the grit, Brian Kelleher will fight hard the entire time, which is why, as you were talking, I hit the more on the Monkey Knife Fight line, because what happens is we film this and I don't get to play the lines, and then it moves and then I'm stuck. So I played that now. But really
that's a good more is definitely the play here. Figuring most guys figure this is not going to get finished early and these guys are going to bang a little bit.
Yeah, and he's going to move this line for sure. So hit this now, weonpicks.com/MKF. Jacob, now that you've collected yourself, what are your thoughts here?
I agree on the more. I think that's an easy play. And I like Brian Kelleher in this fight as well. I agree with you guys. I think the 9,000 is a little bit more aggressive than I'd like. but he's in my DraftKings lineup. Domingo is tall, but here's how Domingo wins the fight. He needs to control the center of the octagon. If he controls the pace and controls the length and keeps Kelleher at bay, he can win this fight. But I've seen too many times in his fight when he gets crowded and he turns from the hammer to the nail, his back is up against the cage and he doesn't really move very well. And that's Brian Kelleher's world. I can also see moments where if that starts happening late, second, third round, he jumps and tries to maybe get a takedown, and then Brian Kelleher gets his patented guillotine. So I like Brian Kelleher in this matchup, just to be able to control, pressure Domingo. I think Domingo's going to back up to the cage, and that's the worst thing he can do. If somehow he is able to control the pace, control the center octagon, he can definitely win. I just don't see it happening. That's why I like Brian Kelleher in this fight, and that's why he's in my lineup as well.
So why were you shaking your head when?
Because I was upset that we have the same person, because I don't want the same people as you.
God.
Yeah, Kelleher's
everybody
looking at
feels.
Kelleher's record right now. His last 2 losses were to Ricky Simone, extremely tough fight, and Cody Stamann, extremely tough fight.
Yeah.
And he beat a bunch of good guys. So, yeah, Kelleher, I think, is the side.
Yep, I completely agree. The problem is I don't have a bet. I was trying to find a bet for this, but he's too big of a favorite. Maybe you bet the distance. Bet?
What's a submission bet for him? Because I bet that's probably +3 or +400.
Yeah, I'll look. You know me, I hate those. That's a you and Dan thing. I like straightforward. Maybe I'll do the over on rounds. But we own picks.com/bets. Find something and play.
I'll find a good prop bet, Jake. Don't you worry.